When we move past the sensational headlines and into the documented facts, a much clearer and much less thrilling picture emerges. First, the timeline. One of the most damning blows to the theory is Prince Eddie's proven whereabouts during key moments of the Ripper murders. Royal archives, military records, and personal correspondence show that he just wasn't even in London when at least 3 of the canonical 5 murders occurred. In late August 1888, for example, when Mary Ann Nichols, the Ripper's first widely recognised victim, was killed, Eddie was staying at Yorkshire, home of the Lord and Lady Lunsborough. Eyewitness accounts, newspaper mentions, and household guest books confirm his presence there. Similarly, during the brutal double murder of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes on the night of the 30th of September, Eddie was attending official engagements at Balmoral, in Scotland, hundreds of miles away from the blood-soaked alleys of Whitechapel. While Victorian trains were fast for their time, they weren't fast enough to make such a journey overnight without anyone noticing, especially for a man whose movements were almost certainly documented by staff, courtiers, and the press. Second, the personality profile. Modern criminology has given us insights into the psychological makeup of serial killers like Jack the Ripper. They tend to be highly organised, manipulative, and emotionally detached, often displaying early signs of violence or cruelty. Prince Eddie, by all contemporary accounts, was none of these things. He was described as gentle, passive, and even painfully shy. Far from being a secret sadist, he was, if anything, too emotionally vulnerable, a man who needed constant guidance and supervision, not someone capable of orchestrating a brutal killing spree under the cover of darkness. Third, medical and cognitive ability. The Ripper's killings, gruesome as they were, showed a level of anatomical knowledge. The careful removal of organs, the precision of certain cuts, suggesting either a butcher, surgeon, or someone with a practical understanding of human anatomy. Prince Eddie, who struggled academically, even with private tutors, was unlikely to have had the dexterity or the scientific knowledge required to perform such acts. And finally, there's the matter of motive. Serial killers are often driven by deeply personal compulsions, anger, revenge, psychosexual dysfunction. But there's no evidence that Eddie harboured such violent impulses. He had no known hatred of women, no public or private history of cruelty. If anything, his scandals revolved around indiscretions of the heart, not outbursts of violence. So why did this theory stick around? Part of it has to do with the very nature of conspiracy theories. They thrive on gaps in records, in knowledge, and in common sense. When people feel powerless in the face of chaos, as Victorians did during the Ripper's reign of terror, they often look for answers that feel big enough to match the scale of their fear. And what could be bigger than implicating royalty itself? Moreover, the British monarchy, even today, represents a complex cocktail of reverence and suspicion. We admire the pageantry, but we also half expect that behind the velvet curtains lurk terrible secrets. The notion that a future king could be a hidden monster taps into our oldest fears about power and corruption. In the end, the theory that Prince Albert Victor was Jack the Ripper tells us more about Victorian anxieties, about class, about control, about the fragile line between civilization and